Yo, what is going on YouTube? It's your boy Dan, aka aDrive. I bring you guys our NPA Week 2 matchup. The Minnesota Vikavolts are taking on Coach GalacticElliots and the Chicago Cubchoos. If you guys are hyped for this matchup, which you definitely should be, hit that like button down below and definitely make sure you guys subscribe if you're new. Elliots and the Chicago Cubchoos have definitely one of the best teams, most threatening teams in the entire league. If you want to see my team breakdown, you definitely should check that out. I talk about our team and my opponent's team and why it's too darn broken. But it's all good nevertheless. We're both 1-1 heading into this match, hoping to keep that win streak alive here in the NPA. Big matchup for us here early in the season. We gotta pick up a W, which actually leads me to my question of the day today, guys. I'm very curious about this. How do you guys feel about me as a creator on YouTube, whether I win or lose these matches? How much does it matter to you that I win is really the question, I suppose. Like, do you get upset if I lose? Do you get, don't mind me as I adjust my webcam here, do you get upset if I lose? Do you dislike me if I lose? Like, do you only care if I win? Like, I'm kind of curious to see your perspective, because obviously in these leagues there's always oftentimes some negativity around matches, especially when the coaches end up not winning, but of course someone has to lose every match. So we're gonna have some fun here against Elliots. Let me connect to him and see how it goes down. Should be a good time. I'll see you guys momentarily. Alright guys, we are connected here, about to find out what Elliots is bringing. You can see me predicting what his team is going to be on the layout, of course, but there are some things that he could totally bring. The X-Cloud is definitely a big threat to my squad. He's got a number of different threats. He could try to bring Arcanine if that's something that kind of fits with him. If he thinks I'm going to bring, you know, the Hail, he could totally bring Arcanine. But I'm expecting the Mega Metagross, definitely expecting the Clefable. I'm thinking he might go with the Sticky Web option here with Kricketune, but we'll see. I obviously had to bring my Rapid Spinner, Sand Slash, my only form of hazard removal, to try to counter the potential sticky webs, because if he gets webs up, man, and I don't spin him away, we're gonna have a very difficult time, because it really hinders things like Infernape. But let's see what Elliott's gonna bring. What creativity did he have this time? Brings a lot of the things I expected. In fact, pretty much everything I expected, except he does bring X-Cloud, no Kricketune, so he brought the power. And both X-Cloud and Pangoro put a lot of offensive pressure on my team, so it is very difficult for me to deal with them. I do like lead Infernape here. I think that could be a really good option, because I want to just try to get as much momentum as I can, and even though I don't have U-turn, I could hit really anything hard except for Metagross. I could one-shot the X-Cloud, I could one-shot the Pangoro. If he does decide to go Tentacruel, I'll have a great switch into that, and I could one-shot the Salamence. So I'm really leaning towards Rafiki as my lead here. He might think that I'm going to try to set up rocks here right off the bat, but I see no reason not to lead Rafiki right off the bat here, so that's what I'm going with. He, like I said, he does bring pretty much everything I'm expecting him to bring as well, so we should be good here. Actually, let me just do something really quickly on my other thing here. There we go. So he doesn't bring Kricketune, but he brings X-Cloud. So, I mean, that's a big threat, man. X-Cloud is no joke, guys. X-Cloud is definitely no joke. Pangoro, no joke, man. Those two Pokemon really rip my team to shreds. But like I said, Infernape does have a great matchup against this team. If I can hit my gunk shots and stuff like that, so we might be able to make it work, and even Tentacruel is probably scared of Earthquake, so hopefully we can dent something right off the bat here with Infernape. If he leads Metagross, like I said, we have an easy switch into Necrozma. If he leads Tentacruel, I go into Dragology, so we have a couple different things that I can switch into if I need to. Shaman has a decent matchup in this match as well. Doesn't quite have the same firepower as some of the other Pokemon, but could definitely clean up once Metagross is gone or paralyzed. So let's see here. I also took the ice out of my cup just for you guys today. Actually, that's kind of a lie. It just melted, but you do what you gotta do, man. Ice melts. Matches happen. He's gonna lead Kraken, which is his Tentacruel. So he is gonna just lead right off with the Tentacruel here. Not the best matchup for me, of course, for Rafiki here. But if he was trying to bring a T-Spikes variant, I have a great option to that. Now, I don't know what he's going to do. He might expect like an EQ or something, but I really have no reason not to just switch into Adept, so I'm just going to go for it. He could Scald us here, but really, my play 1,000,000% is to go into Dragology. Not even going to think about it. I wish I had a U-turn, but you know, it's not a big deal. He could think we're Scarfed or something like that, which also could come in handy, at least at this point in the game. But yeah, I can't really touch him, so he also could be scared of me having like a ground EMZ, which would one-shot the Tentacruel here, so he's not exactly in the safest position himself. But I really do like our Dragology here, because it can sponge those water-type moves, and I can substitute up in front of this thing. There's really nothing that I can envision this thing doing to me aside from an Ice Beam, and I don't really think he's going to have the move slot for Ice Beam. And it doesn't really match up too well against my team, just generally speaking, so I'm really not too concerned about the Ice Beam potential here. Yeah, it wouldn't make really much sense for him to carry it, unless he was really expecting Dragology. But we'll get the switch out here. I know I'm faster. I'm expecting just a Scald here. That would make the most sense, but we'll see what he's gonna go for. He does just go for the Scald. Let's really hope we don't get burned here. That would be really unfortunate if we got burned right on the first turn. And we do not get burned, which is great. So we're gonna see the Scald there. It doesn't really do much to me, which that leads me to believe that he's definitely defensive. Now I could pretty much set up a substitute here. There's really no reason not to. So I'm just gonna go for that substitute right off the bat. This will basically allow me to wall the Tentacruel here and make it so I don't have to predict his switch in. I get to simply just set up a substitute. I know he's gonna switch out here, and anything he switches into is gonna take a very big hit. Now he could stay in, but I don't really see Tentacruel like being able to do much to me, which is why I'm substituting. So, because he's probably Scald, Rapid Spin, Sludge Bomb, and then he probably has like, I don't know if he would run T-Spikes, but he could have them, which could be problematic for my team. He might try to set T-Spikes now, but luckily my spinner does have the ability to resist them or be immune to them and spin them away, so that should be pretty sweet. And I do have something to absorb them, obviously, in Dragalge itself. But let's see what he's gonna go for here. I really don't think he stays in, unless he's packing Ice Beam, which would be very surprising. I wouldn't expect an Ice Beam here. Now he's gonna probably go, I mean, Metagross is his default switch in here. He does switch out, I'm assuming Metagross. Here comes Bose, that's actually the Exploud, which is great for me because now I have an option to get my sub up. Boom Burst does hit through substitutes now that I think about it though. So that's actually kind of problematic. That's actually incredibly problematic because if he just Boom Bursts right now, we get absolutely destroyed. I don't think there's anything I could do about that though. So great switch on his part. I don't think he predicted the substitute, but that stinks because if I just Draco'd, we would have just knocked this thing out. But yeah, Boom Burst does knock me out if he's Specs. If he's not Specs, it doesn't knock me out. So I think I'm just gonna go for the, I think I'm just gonna go for the Draco. Do I wanna go for the Draco or the Sludge Bomb? I mean, Sludge Bomb does a good amount. Let's go for the Sludge Bomb. See if he does go for the Boom Burst or not. If he Specs, he'll knock us out here. And then that does give me a switch into my Infernape, which could be decent. Realistically, this thing just bodies my team, and I was not expecting him to go into Exploud there, so perhaps I should have just went on the offensive. So if he Specs, we just get bodied right now. And that is not good. I have no switch into an Exploud, guys. Like, I really have nothing to switch into Specs Exploud. Like, nothing on my team. Absolutely nothing. And that's the problem. Like, this team is, like, I feel like my team is really solid, but it definitely has a few instances where it just really has a hard time, you know, managing against big heavy hitters like this. I mean, like, Necrozma is a great defensive Pokemon, but he just goes for the Boom Burst here. That is going to go through a sub. We'll see if he Specs or not. Looks like we're actually going to live that, which is great. We're going to get the Sludge Bomb off here, which is quite nice as well. Sludge Bomb does connect, does a good amount. Perhaps the Draco would have been better just because Draco would have helped me out there and like ensured that I could have like knocked him out. So yeah, Draco would have definitely knocked him out, which is definitely a bummer there. I would have kept my sub up. So now I have a tough decision to make because I don't know what kind of set this thing is. He could be Scarfed. I do think that Dragalge has some usefulness now, even though it's at such a low amount of health. I do think it has some usefulness because it comes in on Tentacruel. So I have to ask myself the question of, is there anything on my team that I think can switch into what I'm expecting to be potentially Scarfed Exploud? I could definitely take a Boom Burst with Necrozma, but I can't take two, so I can't go into Necrozma. Is there anything on my team that can take a Boom Burst here from an Exploud? I may have to make some interesting switches here. Like, if he's not Specs, I could totally go into Sand Slash here, but then he just switches to Fire Blast, so like I really don't have the best options to deal with this thing. Especially if he's Scarfed, he can't switch moves. So you know what, and I do think our Sand Slash would outspeed this thing. So I think I'm gonna go into Sand Slash here, especially considering the fact that he didn't bring Sticky Webs, so I think going into Sand Slash here is worth it. And we'll see what he's gonna do. I'm sure the Boom Burst. Yeah, he does Boom Burst here. We'll see if there's gonna be a 2 KO. That'll be interesting. We do live, and we do actually absorb the 2 KO here, so that's really cool. So now the question is he Scarfed? And if he's Scarfed, does he stay in? You know, I think an Earthquake here really makes a lot of sense. It really hits pretty much everything. I don't want to miss the Icicle Crash miss. Earthquake also takes on the Tentacruel pretty nicely as well, if that's his switch in. So I'm just gonna go for the Earthquake here and hope that he's not Scarfed. But he's obviously not Spec, so like I don't know what he is, but I think he's Scarfed. But Earthquake really covers pretty much all the options because I don't think he's going into Immense. That wouldn't make sense. He does just go for the Boom Burst here. Now, assuming no crit, we should live it and knock him out. And he knocked us out. Okay. Well, that went well. That went really well. So we get a bad damage roll there. X-Cloud kills Sand Slash with Boom Burst. Alrighty then. Well, that went really well. So here's the thing. If he's Scarfed, which I'm assuming he is, especially since he just outsped me, does my Infernape outspeed him? Man, I don't even know what to say about that. That's really disappointing. Yeah, Infernape is not living under any circumstances. Can I outspeed at least? Yeah, if he's Scarfed, I don't outspeed. I think I have to go into Necrozma here and just take the hit. There's nothing else that I have that can take the hit and hurt him effectively here. So I think Necrozma is my play, just a Dark Pulse and get rid of this thing. That just invites Pangoro in though so badly, and Pangoro comes in and just obliviates me. But then I can at least go for the Dazzling Gleam at that point in time. I don't think Emma Frost outspeeds, and I think he just Boom Bursts and knocks me out. I think I'm gonna go into Eclipse here because it's really the only thing on my team that can take a hit. And unfortunately, this scenario here really opens me up to be weak to. I have to Dark Pulse here. It really opens me up to be weak to Metagross now because he's gonna Boom Burst and knock us out, or he's gonna Boom Burst do like 50%. That Sand Slash not living was really a big deal. But if he's Scarfed, which I'm expecting him to be, like there's not a whole lot I could do about it. If he might save this thing too. Like a T-Wave might have been a good play here. In fact, T-Wave probably was the right play, but his switch in is probably Pangoro. But I'm not in a situation where I can make that prediction that he's gonna go into Pangoro here. So it's kind of tricky for me. Like, yeah, I mean, that stinks too, because there were so many scenarios where we would have knocked this thing out. Like a Draco Meteor would have knocked it out. I didn't want to risk it. You know, Subdragalge I think is like a great idea, but I wasn't expecting the X-Cloud to come right in on that. Like, I don't think he expected that. And if I Draco'd, he would have been dead. So he's gonna switch out here, probably in a Pangoro. Endangered, is that the Pangoro? It is the Pangoro. Dude, this is such a problem, man. Like, this Pangoro is such a problem. And he's totally gonna knock off here, which is like 1,000,000% his play. I mean, this does give me an opportunity to go into Shaman, and Shaman can take a knockoff, so I do have to go into Shaman here. There's no doubt about it. I gotta make the play. Yeah, Shaman could take the knockoff here. It's gonna reveal that I have a Mega item, or the Z-Ring or whatever. But I have to go into this thing, and I have to Dazzling Gleam. He's gonna go for the knockoff here, so not surprising. We see a big knockoff there. It does a little less than half, and we see a Life Orb on this thing, which is really nice. So we're gonna assume Life Orb Pangoro with knockoff. We saw the X-Cloud. I'm assuming Scarf with Boom Burst. So, I mean, obviously me going for a Dazzling Gleam here is probably my best play. I don't really know if he would expect that, though. The other option is a Groundium Z, but I think I have to make the safe play here and just Dazzling Gleam. I would love to predict the Metagross coming in, guys. I really would, but I just don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth the risk at this point in the match. On the next turn, the next time around, I can do it. But we definitely, I mean, he could have Bullet Punch in this thing too, but it's no big deal. I think what I need to do is I need to get my Ninetales in. I just need to set up an Aurora Veil, like ASAP, so that way the rest of my team can actually have a chance to come back in this. But we'll see what he's gonna do. I mean, if he goes Tentacruel here, like Dazzling Gleam plus the Groundium Z knocks it out. So I have that going for me. If he stays in, we get the kill, which is nice. If he switches to Metagross, then he's gonna switch. Does he go into Metagross here? He goes into Kraken. Okay. So, I mean, this thing is obviously like my obvious play here is to go into Dragalge, and that's really what I'm thinking I'm gonna do. I mean, I could get rid of him right now. Like, based on that damage, do I just go for the Groundium Z? Shaman versus Tentacruel. Like, Tentacruel stops Infernape from putting in a lot of work, which makes me think that it might be worth. Like, Dazzling Gleam does 10%. Earth Power Groundium Z does 77 to 90. So actually, I think it's gonna just be shy of a kill. So I'm gonna just make the play into Adept here again. And this time, assuming I live, I'll drop the Draco this time. I don't think it's worth losing Meadow at this point in time. It's my only knockoff switch in to the Pangoro. And it does Speed Tie with Salamence with HP Ice, which is nice. I'm sorry, Dazzling Gleam. And like the chances that he goes for a Sludge Bomb here is pretty high. And luckily, you know, Dragalge can come in. It should be able to take a Sludge Bomb, get some Black Sludge recovery up, and then potentially fire off a big Draco Meteor. And like at this point, I don't really think there's anything he can switch into. I mean, I could also go for a Shadow Ball, potentially predicting I can't Shadow Ball actually, because he could go X-Splat again, which is pretty weakened. So I probably just Draco. I don't think Sludge Bomb would be the right play. Yeah, so I think Dragalge is gonna come in here. Hopefully I can live the Sludge Bomb like comfortably here. I mean, I'm at 31 HP, so we're not in the best situation to live this hit, but we are very specially bulky. And that's gonna bring us down to 11. And let's see here, the Tentacruel is at, it's got Black Sludge. And that brings us down to 20. So I don't know whether we can live or not. It's gonna be close. I think I just have to Draco anyway. So I'm just gonna click Draco Meteor. You know, we made that mistake earlier, and weakening this thing is really important because otherwise Shaman can't get through it. And like, the only other thing I really have is Freeze Dry on Ninetales. So I think I just have to kind of drop a Draco here. I mean, the only thing that really is gonna switch in comfortably would be the Metagross. And even that, like, is still gonna take a pretty solid chunk from it. And then I can go into Necrozma, and then we can start firing off Thunder Waves. Because if I Thunder Wave the Pangoro, it becomes a lot less of an issue, because at least there's a chance of a para, you know? I do a Moonblast on Ninetales too for that. But yeah, let's see. I mean, Scald or Sludge Bomb, I don't think either kills me at 20 HP, and if it does, it's a damage roll. I mean, it is what it is, right? Well, we were at 31, he brought us down to 11, so yeah, it's gonna be a damage roll if he goes for it. So that'll be interesting. And Tentacruel obviously outspeeds, even without speed investment. I do have some speed investment on this thing, but I think the ideal situation here is he actually just sacks off X-Cloud. Because that thing, if it is Scarf, which I really think it is, I have like nothing for it. He's gonna Scald. Let's see if we live it. Scald actually is less powerful than Poison Jab, so we do live. Or Sludge Bomb, and he gets the burn. So we're gonna go down, which actually really stinks. We're gonna connect the Draco, which is nice, but we are gonna go down, which is actually not ideal. I don't wanna go down here because I'd rather be alive so I can, you know, force him into one more turn, but that's okay. That actually looks like it might be Shaman Earth Power range anyway. They're pretty darn close. Shaman Earth Power range is 39 to 47, so there's like a decent chance. Actually, we might live. Yeah, we live. Okay, yeah, I forgot Burn got nerfed, so that's cool. So, I mean, really, I think my play here is just a Draco again, but I'm gonna Sludge Bomb just in case he switches. I don't see why he would switch, but maybe for momentum purposes. The only thing here that stinks is like, I mean, I could save this thing for Death Fodder and go into Shaman here, but then I can't take another knockoff later, so I think it's just best to go for the Sludge Bomb here and just let him knock me out. He does just go for the Sludge Bomb and knock me out, so it's a good thing I didn't go to Shaman. So Tentacruel kills Dragalge, the Sludge Bomb. Okay, so Dragalge goes down. Shaman's on a damage roll here against this thing now. Emma Frost can Freeze Dry and probably pick up the kill though, which could be kind of neat, and getting a Hail could be really important against this thing. Let's see how much Freeze Dry does. Freeze Dry does about 50%. Yeah, I think I'm actually better off against the damage roll with Freeze Dry than I am with the damage roll on the other option. The only thing that stinks is like if he Sludge Bombs and kills, like actually Sludge Bomb shouldn't kill anyway. So Hail should pick up the kill if it doesn't. So Freeze Dry here is a pretty obvious play. I don't really have another option though. I can't really take the chance of him switching out. I mean, I would love to get up an Aurora Veil though. So maybe that should be my play. Just because the Aurora Veil will help me out. It gives me 8 turns. I think the Aurora Veil is too important. I'm gonna go for the Aurora Veil, guys. I think that the 8 turns of Aurora Veil is way more important than anything else, because if I don't get that 8 turns of Aurora Veil up, I don't see how I can switch into his attacks. So we really need that. And 8 turns is a pretty long time, so it could give us the chance to kind of come back. Because with Aurora Veil up, he really doesn't do much to us with Sludge Bomb. It does like 30%. So, because we do have a decent special defense stat, and I doubt he's invested. Definitely a bummer because the Freeze Dry should knock him out, but if he switches into Metagross here, like the Aurora Veil is way more important. So he's just gonna Sludge Bomb, I'm sure. Or he could set up his T-Spikes now that my hazards are gone, which would be really annoying. He does just go for the Sludge Bomb here. Hopefully we don't get poisoned because that would be a little bit annoying. Okay, so you don't get poison, which is nice. And the hail damage actually, with the, I mean, he's gonna be in the same spot. So like the freeze dry here is a pretty good play. And it might have a chance to knock him out. And like, if he switches into Metagross, it's fine. But like, this is my play here because it kills the Exploud coming in. And it hopefully kills the Tentacruel here. It's gonna be a damage roll, I think. And if Metagross comes in, then I just go into Necrozma. And at that point in time, we can start to paralyze some stuff. Because that's what I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to start getting some T-Waves off to really have a chance to get back in this. I have to basically paralyze the Metagross or paralyze the Exploud or at least knock it out or do something. If I can get that thing going, Shaman has actually a decent matchup. Actually, Shaman has a really solid matchup too. If I can weaken this thing a little bit more, because now Shaman can take a hit from the Metagross with Aurora Veil up. So this match obviously is not looking the greatest for us, but you know, we had a couple really tough turns at the beginning. That Exploud play was really tricky, and like losing on the damage roll on the Sand Slash was really brutal, because if Sand Slash was still alive there and it knocked out the Exploud, then that would have been really, really crucial. And like obviously it was a damage roll, but at the same time, like we were pretty close to living. So he's gonna switch out. I'm assuming Metagross comes in. Yeah, here comes Metagross, and of course he names it Z-Drive. And I mentioned in my pregame, guys, that there's absolutely no reason why this thing should be allowed in the league. I still really stand by that. I know it might just sound like I'm being salty, but I'm actually being totally honest. I'm gonna freeze him right now. No freeze? Okay. I'm actually just being totally honest. Like, there's really no reason for this thing to be allowed in the league because if you really think about it, like, Mega Metagross is just such an offensive threat. 110 base speed, priority, gets a number of different coverage options. It's like incredibly difficult to beat. And as a result of that, like all that, I just don't feel that it should have been allowed to be drafted. I feel the same way about Tapu Lele too, but it is what it is, man. I'm facing it right now, so I gotta figure out a way to beat it. But he is going to Mega Evolve here. And you don't see the Mega Evolution animation in Sun and Moon too often, especially since I've been playing VGC like nonstop. I don't even play singles anymore. He actually goes with a Bullet Punch here. Very interesting play. That's going to be great for me because he's going to do very little damage to me, and I get the Rocky Helmet off too. Plus, he's going to take hail damage, and we're going to really start to wear this thing down. Now, there's no reason for me not to simply click Thunder Wave here. It really helps out if he goes into that Pangoro, which is what I'm thinking he's going to do. I could also make a really interesting switch here and kind of predict the Pangoro switch in and go into Meadow here, which could give me some offensive momentum, which could be really clutch. I think that's a play I need to make. I think he realizes that this thing probably can't do much to me. And last time he went into the Pangoro, so I think it is time for me to make like a really, really intense switch here and just go into Shaman. The problem is if he stays in here, we're in some trouble, but he knows I have Dark Pulse, so I really think the Pangoro is very likely to come in. So I'm gonna make the Shaman play here. Unfortunately, I understand the risk involved in this play, and I realize that if I mispredict here, I could actually lose the match as a result of it. But at the same time, I realize that in order for me to get back in this match, I have to make some good plays to come back into it. So here comes Endangered, which is the Pangoro here. And we do make the proper play and switch out into Shaman, which is great. So Shaman comes in here, and now I have to see, does Seed Flare actually kill this thing at this range from our Shaman? And if it does, you know, do I risk the Misc or do I just go for the Dazzling Gleam? So I think I do have the Dazzling Gleam based on the damage he's at. It's a really close damage roll, but it's not one I'm willing to risk. So I do have the Dazzling Gleam here. And that does give him a switch into his potential Tentacruel here, but I do have the Earth Power, and I would imagine we can actually knock it out at that point. So I'm gonna go for the Dazzling Gleam here and just try to pick up the kill. If he goes back into Metagross, I have my switch into that. So we do have some options. But getting rid of this thing is incredibly important. So, you know, also we're dealing with Aurora Veil too. Luckily, it seems that I might be able to set up another Aurora Veil at some point in this match, which could be useful. But he's gonna switch out here, predicting the Dazzling Gleam again. Does go into Kraken, which is his Tentacruel, and I think Dazzling Gleam plus hail damage plus Earth Power should be enough to knock out the Kraken here, which will be incredibly useful, and it looks like that's gonna put him in range of Earth Power. Hail does stop, which is kind of a bummer, and that might take him out of the range. This is a really, really close damage roll, I think. This is gonna be a really close damage roll. I don't know if it's one I can risk. I think I have to. I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go for the Earth Power here, and we're gonna just have to hope we get that damage roll. It's looking like it should kill, but it's gonna be really close. Tentacruel is very, very bulky, so we're gonna find out here in a second, and it does pick up the kill. So Shaman knocks out Tentacruel, which is good. Shaman kills Tentacruel with Earth Power, which is really, really nice. And we get rid of that threat, and that's one of the big things that was stopping Shaman. Now, his Exploud could come in here, and that thing really kind of wrecks my team. The good news is Shaman does have the ability to take a hit under Aurora Veil at this range, I believe, and we can knock it out with a potential Earth Power or Dazzling Gleam. So we have that as an option, which is quite nice. Yeah, we have a couple of options here on how we can get rid of this thing. If he goes into Metagross, then I just go into Necrozma. If he goes into, he's not going to go into Pangoro. He could go into his Salamence, which puts us at a speed tie most likely, unless he's bringing Scarfments. But even Scarfments, I don't think Scarfments can knock me out in one hit. So the X-Cloud is the thing that I'm worried about the most coming in, because I think even under Aurora Veil, it probably is going to do a lot. And we should have, I think, 2 more turns of Aurora Veil, if I'm not mistaken. So I can definitely take a Boom Burst and a Fire Blast at this range from the X-Cloud. So Shaman could put in some work here. If he goes in Immense, same kind of thing. Salamence, I don't think wants to take a D-Gleam. It actually is about a 2-hit KO on Mence, but we're dealing with a speed tie, so... And I do have Aurora Veil up, which could be all the difference. Unless he's running like Fly, but I don't really think that would be a thing. I think for him, like honestly, if I was him, I'd go into Clefable. But he is going to go into that X-Cloud, and I have to 1,000,000% just knock him out here. As much as I think it's important to keep Meadow healthy, I don't think it's worth switching into Necrozma here and just having Necrozma get bopped. And I know I could live 1 hit, so I do think it's in my best interest to just go for a Dazzling Gleam here. And I think he's gonna outspeed us and get a Boom Burst off, but we should be able to take it. We should be sitting at around about 30, 40 HP after this hit. Should do about 30%. But I 1,000,000% have the Dazzling Gleam here. There is a chance that he's not Scarfed, but I'm really feeling like he's Scarfed at this point in time. So I'm expecting to see Boom Burst or Fire Blast. He does go for the Boom Burst here. Assuming no crit, I should live this no problem. We live around 33, which is good, and Dazzling Gleam will pick up the kill. So we get rid of the X-Cloud, which is nice. So Shaman kills X-Cloud with D-Gleam. So now he's got Pangoro, Salamence, Metagross, and Clefable left. A couple different big threats there. Luckily for us, Infernape can handle the Salamence if it's not Scarfed. Ninetales also puts on some serious pressure, especially if I can set up a second Aurora Veil. My switch-ins to Mr. Pangoro are pretty much non-existent at this point in time, though. But at least it can't come in while Ninetales is on the field, so that's a nice thing. And like obviously, I have a dedicated switch into Metagross every time in Necrozma, so that's really cool too. He may predict that though next time, and double into Pangoro expecting Necrozma. That's going to be a really interesting predicament that we're going to have to face here pretty soon. I think I have 1 more turn of Aurora Veil, but I don't think it's enough to allow Shaman to live a hit. So I'm kind of hoping that he doesn't go Metagross. Because Metagross, well, if he goes Metagross, then I could go into Necrozma. So, I mean, I guess there's that. If he goes Clefable, then I think I just go back into Ninetales and reset my Aurora Veil. Because I have Gunk Shot on Infernape, and if I just weaken the Clefable ever so slightly, then, like, Gunk Shot knocks it out. So, I mean, that's a real cool option. So here comes the Metagross again. And I do think it's still worth saving my Shaman. Now... do I think he's going to predict my switch? I don't know, but it's not something I'm willing to risk at this point in time. I think I have to make the switch into Eclipse here, and as much as it stinks and it could like really mess me up here, I think I have to. So I'm gonna make that switch into Necrozma here, and if he predicts that and goes into Pangoro, that's just gonna be a really good play on his part. And it's a pretty fair prediction on his end. Like he could definitely make that prediction and understand that Necrozma is like my dedicated switch into this thing, but I really don't have another option. I don't think it's worth letting this thing go down. And I have 1 turn left of Aurora Veil, which is really nice too. So I guess I could have made a prediction. But I don't think it's worth going into Infernape at this point in time, especially if I could paralyze this thing. Or the Pangoro. Like, paralyzing the Pangoro would be good too. He does make the double and into Pangoro. So I could have made that Dazzling Gleam play. I wanted to make the Dazzling Gleam play. Wasn't something I really felt was worth the risk. I mean, that was one of those reads, man, that if I click Dazzling Gleam there, we actually are in an amazing position. But I don't really think there's much I can do here. I think what I have to do, though, is I think the knockoff is coming, and I think I have to go into Rafiki to take it. Which really stinks, because I think Infernape has a lot of usefulness in this match, but I think I have to switch into it right now. Because knockoff against that thing isn't gonna kill. It's gonna lose. I'm gonna lose my life orb, but then I get to go for close combat, which could be really effective. And like, even though he still has that Salamence, there's not really a ton that could switch into me. I can't just leave Eclipse in here because it's my only way to deal with a couple of his threats still. So I do think Rafiki is the play. I don't want to let Shaman go down yet. I think Shaman is still useful too, even if not just for death fodder. But the question is, do I just sack off Shaman now? Because I could easily go into Emma Frost here on the following turn and set up a second Aurora Veil if I sack off Shaman now, get my Aurora Veil back up and threaten him out immediately with a Moonblast. That could bring his Metagross back in, and then at least I have an Aurora Veil back up, and with an Aurora Veil, Rafiki can actually potentially win the game. So you know what? I think I'm gonna sack off Shaman, as sad as that makes me. I think it's my play. You know, so you just gotta give props to Elliot there for making a really good play and a good read. But I do think that this is the play I have to make. I have to go into Meadow here and just sack off Meadow. He does go for the knockoff, not surprising. Pangoro kills Shaman with knockoff. Okay. Now I pretty much just go into Emma Frost here, and we set up an Aurora Veil. I think the 8 turns of Aurora Veil is worth more to me than anything else. A Moonblast here would be great to kill this thing, and he could predict that, but I think the switch into Metagross is just like way too likely, and I think the Aurora Veil is way more important. Because let's think about this. If I get the Aurora Veil up, then I get to go into Infernape. Infernape comes in and gets to go for a Flare Blitz, or really anything. Probably Flare Blitz will kill because he's going to take Life Orb plus Hail. Then I have Flare Blitz options. Flare Blitz plus Gunk Shot kills the Clefable, so he doesn't have that. If Metagross comes in, I think I could take one hit and I have a great switch into it. You know, obviously it's a little tricky, but I still have Necrozma, and Necrozma can actually wall a couple things left. It just can't beat the Clefable, so that's a little tough. But I think I have to go for the Aurora Veil. I really want to go for the Moonblast, but I think his switch out is really likely into Metagross. Do I think he makes the switch into Metagross? I think the Aurora Veil is way more important. I have to get the Aurora Veil up if I want to win this match. He goes for the Bullet Punch, so he might actually just knock us out. So great prep on his part for having a Bullet Punch. And it does pick up the kill there. So we make a huge misplay there by allowing him to Bullet Punch. He takes some more Life Orb damage, and obviously picks up the kill there on our homie there. So we're going to go into Rafiki. Obviously, Rafiki is definitely a tough spot. I think I have to make a God tier play here and go for HP Ice, predicting the Salamence. I think that's I have to do that play right now. I think I have to make God tier plays here and go for HP Ice. I'm going for it. I have to make the play. Obviously, Flare Blitz or Coast Combat knocks him out here, but I have to make that like next level play here. That Shaman prediction into the Pangoro earlier was really the thing that like turned this game around. But an HP Ice into Salamence here should pick up the kill. And at the very least, I think Gunk Shot would kill the Clefable. But I think I have to just HP Ice. If he stays in with Pangoro here, he wins. So, I mean, it is what it is, though. I think this is the only way I get back in this game. So, I fully understand that this could be a really bad play, but I think it's the only way I get back in. Because if he's like Intimidate Mens, he can switch it in here and take a Flare Blitz or a Close Combat. He resists both. So, like, we really have to make a play. He does switch. Will it be the Salamence? It's Godmother, which I think is the Clefable, obviously. Yeah, so he gets the Clefable switch in. It would have been nice if I Gunk Shotted, but just was a little too risky. But that does put him in Gunk Shot range, unless he's fully physically defensive. We'll see if he takes any hail damage here too, which will be interesting to see. He does take hail damage as well, so he's not Magic Guard, he's unaware. And he's leftovers. Alright, is he going to predict the Gunk Shot here? If he predicts the Gunk Shot, and I don't kill him, it's over, but I think I have to Gunk Shot and just kill him. The other play would be Flare Blitz, predicting a potential switch in, but I don't think he's going to switch into... I don't really see him switching into Metagross here. I think that'd be too risky, so I'm going to throw the Trash Can at him. Yeah, I have to throw a Trash Can at him. At least he saw HP Ice, so he might think I'm special, but I am Life Orb, so it is what it is. But let's chuck a Garbage Can at him and see what happens. There is a chance that we can pull this back. It's going to be really tough, but we definitely could. We definitely could. Especially with Necrozma having T-Wave. Could be incredibly useful against something like a Salamence. Like, if I can get rid of this this Clefable here, and I can paralyze the Metagross, there's like a chance we can win. But it's gonna be really, really tough last couple turns here. And if he switches out Clefable right now into anything that's not Pangoro, I think we lose too. And I also have to hit the garbage can, which is always a struggle, right? Man, tough match. He stays in, we miss. Put it in the books. Man, this actually was a feasible comeback too. I really think that we could have come back if we hit that trash can. I think there was a chance. There's not one now. We can't win now. I would have had to hit that gunk shot. If I hit the gunk shot, we knock this thing out, then he has to bring in Metagross. Then it comes down to another 50-50, right? If Metagross comes in and I get to Necrozma in, Necrozma walls that, and it probably walls Salamence too. Obviously Pangoro beats it, but Rafiki beats Pangoro, and he has very limited switch-ins. So if I paralyze Metagross, we actually would have potentially won. I think I have to just go for the trash can again, just to try to keep us in this, but he's gonna stay in. We actually hit it this time, but Hail plus, oh, that's not even gonna kill, is it? Wow, okay, so I guess it's really kind of irrelevant. We don't even pick up the kill. We get a nice poison, but I'm really feeling like my man Necrozma is not gonna be able to hold it down against all these threats here. It's a lot of threats, man. Definitely a bummer though, because if that gunk shot actually hit, there was a chance that we could pull it back. But there was a few key plays in this match that really cost us. There was a number of key plays. We actually, no, I don't think we're gonna get the kill with the poison. It'll be close, but what I can do is I can go into Necrozma here, and I think what I have to do is just, oh, we actually almost pick up the kill. At least he dies to poison. He could soft boil though, which could be a bit annoying. I think what I have to do here with Necrozma is, I mean, Dark Pulse is obviously a play. I mean, I could set up Stealth Rocks and just try to get some chip damage on the Pangoro coming in. I mean, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna set up Stealth Rocks. If he soft boils, then we lose anyway, but we'll just get the rocks up, see what he goes for. He might just Moonblast here and just try to weaken us, put us in Pangoro range. He goes for the Moonblast here. And yeah, definitely kind of a tough match, guys. Like, you know, I don't feel that we played really badly. There was a few instances where obviously we could have made some different predictions. The big turning point was that Shaman play, right? Like, I knew the chances that he would go into Pangoro was pretty likely. It wasn't a risk I was willing to take, but it should have been a risk I was willing to take. If I hit that Dazzling Gleam there into the Pangoro, we eliminate that as a threat, and then he really doesn't have much for Necrozma at that point in time. So it's really interesting how that one turn really came down and you know, turned the tide of the battle. But here comes this Pangoro. And basically, what I have to do here is I have to paralyze him, and then I have to get him fully paralyzed multiple times in order for us to come back. So I will play for that. We'll go for the T-Wave here, and I should be faster. We miss. All I can do is laugh, man. Knockoff picks up the kill. So good game to Elliot, guys. Show some love his way, man. I encourage you guys to check out his channel. Of course, we're going to fall to 1-1 here in the NPA. Tough loss. Not exactly thrilled about it, of course. But what are you going to do, man? You can't win them all. So haven't been too excited about how I've been playing lately. Haven't had a ton of time to invest into playing in these leagues right now. And doing 2 leagues in VGC has been a lot to take care of. But I'm doing my best, guys, so hopefully you're enjoying nevertheless. Thank you so much for watching. That's going to be it for me, guys. My name is Dan. I'll go by aDrive, and I'm going to catch you guys later. Peace.